Fox 59, your local election headquarters. We love everything election, though. A busy night for both presidential candidates, too, as they hold town halls, competing town halls at the same time. President Trump in Miami with NBC News, Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden in Philadelphia with ABC News, both covering a wide variety of topics. They were originally, as you know, supposed to have a debate, and then it was supposed to be virtual. Now joining us live this morning to talk about what all happened, and political expert Laura Wilson from UIndy. Laura, good morning.
Good morning.
I think you were probably like a lot of people flipping back and forth trying to see what was happening on both. First, let's talk about the town halls overall. What was your opinion on what you witnessed?
Well, it was really interesting to see the difference between how President Trump handled the town hall and how former Vice President Joe Biden handled it. Very different dynamics, very different approaches, and really reflected obviously a variety of topics. But I think the biggest thing you saw was the difference in terms of the candidates and who they are as people and who they would be certainly as leaders as well.
Also, if you look on Twitter, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, this is what you also heard. You heard that maybe Savannah Guthrie was actually taking part in the debate, and then others saying George Stephanopoulos was more of just asking questions. Did you see that, or is that maybe just a Republican-Democrat thing going back and forth with kind of how they see everything divided?
I think every moderator has a different approach, and it was really unique being in a town hall because you're right, they're not the opposition. They're not serving to really challenge the candidate, but they are supposed to be there to hold them to questions, to make sure that they answer things, to serve as somewhat of a proxy for the American people, making sure that the questions that we have are being asked and answered. So I would say you do see sort of a difference there in terms of those personalities. But that's always going to be the challenge for any of these debates, and especially having two town halls that were separate. You had two different people leading two different events, whereas originally we were going to just have one. So you saw that difference there as well.
Absolutely. Another big story dealing with our First Amendment and freedom of speech. If we can run prompter, because I want to make sure I get this question exactly right, because I wrote it out to make sure I didn't mess it up at all, because it's very controversial, right? Members of the Senate Judiciary Committee are going to vote Tuesday now to make sure that they have a subpoena for Twitter's CEO. This is all in response to Twitter blocking that New York Post article on alleged Hunter Biden emails. Let's talk a little bit about kind of your opinion on what you're seeing there. This is a big debate, though, when it comes to what people want to know about your First Amendment right and censure.
It is. And the First Amendment right is the big question. We know social media is a place, it's an outlet where a lot of Americans get their information. And that's true of certainly for any aspect of the media. Generally speaking, our courts have upheld First Amendment rights and freedom to know and freedom to say. There is a question of accuracy as well. But I think seeing how the Judiciary Committee handles this will be very critical. And it's important for all Americans to have access to information, of course, that is fact-based and truthful, but also being able to have that as part of their own First Amendment rights as well.
The Supreme Court nomination hearings, those are now over. What is your take from the questioning? I think a lot of people were surprised to see people hugging at the end, Republicans and Democrats embracing each other and complimenting each other.
It was surprising, but it's good to know this can still happen in politics. I think you saw Amy Coney Barrett was very calm, very poised. A lot of questions about the ACA, about abortion, how she would respond to the courts coming into an election. And she was very careful not to respond to those because those could be legitimate questions she might have to answer if added to the court. We talk about these procedures. Court appointments are oftentimes very tense. And I think that moment at the end where people come together and they recognize this was a major point in American history. And at the end of the day, Republicans or Democrats, we do have to come together united as a country.
Lindsey Graham and Dianne Feinstein hugging. I think that was kind of the surprise for a lot of people.
It was quite a moment.
Thanks for being with us this morning. We appreciate it. 7:26 is your time right now. If you would like more information on the countdown to Election Day and the Supreme Court nomination, the hearings, go to fox59.com.